Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. I was scrolling through Reddit. Yes, the unhallowed grounds. Actually, there's a lot worse websites out there. And I've been answering a few posts and advice here and there. One thing I've noticed is one of the topics that is by far the most popular is basically help for young people. Young people, I mean teenagers, 14 to 18 kind of a deal. Mostly it's romance. Oh, he didn't call me last night, or she was out with another guy, and don't care. But some of these people are asking for legitimate advice. Like one person right now is asking whether they should leave the United States. That's a little premature at 17 years old to be worried about that. It's not great down there at the moment, let's be honest. Could be better. But these things are cyclical, hopefully. And there's another huge bunch of posts about bullying. Yes, this topic will not go away. It was a thing when I was a kid. Here, I'm admitting to my age here. Remember there were after school specials about bullying and drugs and crap like that? Well, we grew up with that. So it's just natural for us to think, hey, we shouldn't do that. Or it's wrong most of the time. A great number of people decided that was their calling in life. And look at them now. Actually, I can't. I've gotten them completely out of my life. But we've gone for a very long time without a real way to address bullying. And it's everywhere. It's in the workplace. It's in the schools. It's in the after-school programs. Hockey, wrestling, football, you name it. There's always one person that has an insecurity issue and wants to take it out on you. Which is not entirely true. In the 1940s, Dr. Spock, not Mr. Spock from Star Trek, Dr. Spock, the psychologist, insisted that bullies were doing it, bullying others in other words, because they had a lack of self-esteem. And Dr. Spock sold about 50 years worth of book just based on his opinion. It's time we move beyond this because anyone who's been bullied knows otherwise. I think I've mentioned this program before, and it was very experimental, and I got dragged into it. When I was young, I kept my mouth shut, tried to stay away, and people took that as a sign of weakness. So I was bullied. I had some friends and stuff there, but I wasn't too thrilled about the idea of, I could, Keith and Gerald and James and the whole group of them. I can use first names because you know whether they're real. And if they're listening, you know what you did. One of my counselors, I believe this was in high school, not grade 9, not grade 13. Yes, I'm old enough to have had a grade 13. But somewhere like grade 10 and 11. And for reasons I'll never understand, the person they picked to run this program was the least popular guidance counselor in the entire school. I didn't understand why he wasn't popular because he was okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not up here singing him as a savior or anything like that. But if I just mention his name, a few of my friends like, oh, he was useless. Couldn't get water from a well. And his idea was to get the bullies and the bullied, let's just call them nerds, because that's when Revenge of the Nerds came out, and get them in a class and get them talking to each other. Now, this actually has the makings of a good idea. Unfortunately, because Dr. Spock and his idiocy, they didn't realize that all the bullies would go to one side of the class, all the nerds, not afraid to say I'm a nerd, went to the other side of the class. They didn't want to interact at all. Now, I don't remember any activities where he's like, Billy, go up to Jimmy and look each other in the eye and give each other a hug or anything. There was nothing. There was no role playing. There was nothing like that. And as I recall, the bullies a few times were even poking fun at him, which he did shut down. It wasn't really effective the way they did it, but he at least acknowledged it was happening. So every Thursday, for some reason I remember it was every Thursday. I can't remember when it was, but I remember it was every Thursday. So every Thursday, we knew going into the class we were safe. Because, you're kind of arriving one at a time and you can look out for each other. But leaving, oh no, you got a lineup of bullies just sitting there, waiting for the nerds to come out one by one. And the guidance counselor always managed to wind up talking to somebody. I think one of the bullies would usually talk to him while the other ones all got to pick who they were going to pick on. Now again, I have previously said this was dumb, stupid. Like, how about not reading the room? But on second thought, it is the beginnings of an idea. Back in the 70s and 80s and all that sort of stuff, they didn't have any idea. The idea is boys will be boys, let them figure it out. And the problem we had at our school was so bad, they had to address it. They couldn't just ignore it. And I got bullied, but it wasn't that bad. I wonder what some of the other people were going through, and it concerns me. I don't know how I'd find out now, but yeah. Anyways, so we come back to Reddit. There's a lot of kids asking extremely personal questions because they have nowhere else to go. Like, there's a kids helpline, there's the anti-self-termination line. There are resources for them, but I'm just going to put myself into that situation. If my little girl has a problem, she's 12, and for whatever reason she feels like she can't talk to her mother or myself, then it's very limited. She does have a room to go to, and she could call the helpline or whatever it is. But there's got to be a stage between, talking to your parents and calling an actual helpline. This is not even getting into child protective services or anything like that. Let's assume the issue's not that bad. We have people gathering online, and even though there's 100 of them and they're talking to each other, they're not sharing anything important. The kids, fortunately, have mostly figured out not to share information online. Still happens, but we need somewhere else besides Reddit and IRC and the various FC boards and stuff like that, because they're just not good places. I don't know whether it should be online. It costs money to hire staff. Even volunteers, you got to insure them because, God forbid, one of them, trips or anything like that. You don't want that happening in any workplace. But it's reality. Here I am in my workplace. Don't worry, I consider writing my workplace. This is fun. But, subscribe and like so that maybe I can make money off it one day. I'm not afraid to beg. We really need to figure out a middle ground. And we've been working on this throughout the entire information age. We have all this wonderful information. You can look up anything you want. I was showing my kid how to unclog the drains and stuff just simply because that's my job. I'm not going to be here forever. You call a plumber out, that's expensive. I was having a problem with one thing. It was the shower head. And whoever torqued it on there really did a number. It was $70 for this guy to come out. Now, whatever she becomes, whatever happens to her, I don't want her spending $70 on a plumber for something she could do herself. And I'm trying to teach her all these benefits in life, shall we call it. Because that's going to have to be the halfway point. There's no one else to go to for regular people, for children, for adults, and the bullying's not going away. The marital issue, the dating issues are not going away. As a matter of fact, they're almost identical. But I'm not mean enough to tell people, just go read another post or answers there. But anyways, with that, we wish to thank you for joining us on the Silverlight Show. If you have ideas for ways to give people more resources on less conventional topics, let's hear it. Because, again, self-termination is not a pretty thing. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. More people who hear this, the better off we are. And please hit the notification icon, because since I'm coming back after a year holiday due to my mic, it would really help out a lot. With that, we hope you have a fantastic day.